What was going on for you as a leader at that time?
I suppose for me it was trying to demonstrate to my governors that I actually was the right choice. I had a very specific, challenge, which was to kind of have some standing outside of the institution. Mm-hmm. So not about, the workings of the college and how you're going to develop that, but actually about my own, how other people saw me in the sector and how I was putting Harrow on the map. That's really what they were looking to see, because of my predecessor was very much about that. Right. And how was I going to continue that and kind of to make that my own, if you see what I mean, for the organisation.
What were you most curious about as you went into the programme?
Well, I always find these things quite interesting. I find them interesting not necessarily because of the topic, but actually because of the individuals in the room. So I pay quite a lot of attention to who else is in the room and what people are saying. And what the dynamics are, and what cliques might form or not. And I'm quite interested in all of that, because they have an impact on how well something actually works and what you get out of it ultimately. And it was quite interesting, I thought, from my perspective, in terms of getting something out of the programme, that actually I think it took about 2 or 3 topics in before most people were quite open to what was being discussed, and you started to talk about things not just on the kind of throwaway comment about your organisation, which we can all do. You can all talk about specific difficulties and and kind of share and commiserate each other or whatever about them, because you have an understanding about that. But it's about thinking about your impact on your organisation and how your effect on others. Yeah. And that's quite a personal thing. No matter, I know we're talking about the FE sector and we're talking about our organisations, but actually ultimately it comes down to being quite personal. At least it was for me. Right.
Because I was also making a link between your new role, where you needed to be much more outward facing, almost amongst peers. It was less hierarchical. Yes. And here you are in a room with a bunch of peers from all different organisations, very much the way that your principal role would play out. What was it like to be in that room with people from all different parts of the sector?
I think there was a bit of awe for particular individuals who I thought just their wealth of their experience. You could hear it in the way that they were describing things. And the way that they talked about the impact of things on themselves and their organisation and the sector, and and a lot of huge respect for them. And I suppose, hopefully, I think what I got out of it was that I grew my own ability to realise that actually my voice was just as important as theirs. And that's a personal thing. That's not what they think. I don't think that's what they thought at all. Yes. But that's what I thought.
It's really interesting, of course, isn't it? Because a thought that comes to mind, of course, is some of the people from other parts of the sector might have thought, we've got one of those FE college principals in the room, very self-confident, know all their stuff and all the rest of it. And they may have been feeling a similar thing.
Yes, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think I grew in confidence in terms of being able to hold my own with my peers. I think that's and I think I did use that to kind of in terms of the external relationships I created outside for the college, and I still do that to now.
So what were the critical moments on the programme for you?
I think that's quite difficult. Well, no, it's not difficult. I think I do. I can think of the moment, and it was quite a difficult moment for me. Right. So I'll say that. And that was quite late on in the programme, and to do with a relationship that was quite close to me in terms of professionally as another senior manager, and my relationship with that person, and that was and it was just a recognition that I needed to deal with it. One way or another, I needed to kind of come to a resolution about it.
Right. So, Whereas before,
it was I was just moaning about it, and it was about you don't have to live with things, right. And although you as a leader you say that to other people, and you try to get them to, you know, to talk through things and to resolve them, whatever. You don't necessarily think that. You don't think you're in that same situation.
So I was just thinking back, you said when you came on the programme, you're quite a new principal, now been a principal for 4 years. How do you look back on your early principal self?
Well, I think I was, you know, you're a bit naive, aren't you? I think I was a bit naive in the sense that I thought I could, you know, I definitely could do this job, and I can do the job, but you kind of, you don't quite know everything, do you? You know, and you know, I went into that job knowing I was taking the college into a merger. You know, I didn't know who we were merging with at the time, but I knew for the college to really survive financially, with all the indicators that there were at the time around funding and so on, that we had to merge to survive. So I didn't know how much it was going to impact on me on a personal level. I thought I was quite resilient and I could manage that, you know, going forward. It dawns on you when you're in that merger area reviews and all of that, how do you cope with the fact that you're not going to be, the top dog, whatever, of the institution. You're not going to be the CEO principal, and how do you cope with that? Because you came into a role to be a principal and a CEO, and you knowing that you were going to be giving that up. And I don't think I really thought about that when I took the role on, but that's been occupying my mind, certainly since the merger, and how I find not just about securing things for the organisation and the staff, and I believe in the merged institution and our shared values and all of that. These are all things that we've done, and hopefully our monitoring visit will say they can see all of that, and and that is a really positive thing. For the organisation, but it's about, on a personal level, it's about my fit and where that is.
So in the organisational game, there can be some personal loss.
Yeah, I think so, and I think I think reflecting back on the programme, thinking about where what's love got to do with it, and loss and attachment and all of those sorts of things, it is really quite relevant, to the continued, my journey through things.